Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a girl talk video. This has been a highly requested video. I know that a lot of you guys have so many really good questions that I feel like I can help with based on just life and experience and just like the things that I have been through as a girl. I just really want to help you guys out and let you know my thoughts and just have, like a sit down and kind of chit chat about all of these different topics, all those like kind of touchy subjects that people don't really want to talk about. So I'm going to be talking about that today, and I'm so excited to get started with this video. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, comment down below, like, share, subscribe if you're new, and welcome back to my channel. First thing is first, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is OSUGA. OSUGA is a sexual pleasure site where you can find all types of toys and stuff like that, and I just thought it was the perfect sponsor for today's video because we are going to be talking about things like sex. Come on. So I quickly want to talk about their Moon Flow clitoral and G-spot stimulation vibrator. This is really cool because first of all, it has wireless charging, and this can be used both for clitoral and G-spot, so it's kind of like multi-use. And when it comes to sex toys, you guys, it's really important to like buy from a brand that has really high quality things that you know is not going to do any harm to your body, and it's something that will last a long time. Personally, what I love is the sleek design of OSUGA. So if you look at this, you would never think it's a sex toy, but because it literally looks like something you would use like on your face. It looks like a face roller or something. So you could like travel with this, and it's super discreet. And let's say like the security people in line like make you take this out, like no one is gonna think it is what it is. And so I love the super discreet like design of their toys. And I think that their toys just look super cool. They're very innovative. This has 8 different vibration modes depending on what you personally like. There's like stronger intensities, lighter intensities. Also has a travel lock on it, so it doesn't start like, let's say you're traveling, accidentally turns on, so it doesn't start like vibrating out of nowhere. It is also waterproof, so you guys want to use it in the shower. If that's like your go-to place for that, then you can use it in the shower, which I think is important because some toys like aren't, waterproof. So I first of all think that sexual wellness is super important. I think it's important to take care of yourself sexually. It's really good for your health, obviously. And if you have been looking for a really good brand that has cool, innovative products that are super discreet and in really cool packaging, highly recommend OSUGA. They have some really cool stuff. It's also like very soft. It's just a really beautiful kind of modern product, so I highly recommend this brand. Make sure that you guys go check them out. My discount code is right here. You guys can use it at checkout, and make sure you guys click the link down below in description to check out more of their products. Let's get into the questions. First question I got, and something that is asked a lot from me, like people ask me this question all the time. It's tips on how to be so confident and sure of yourself. A lot of people just wrote in that they're dealing, with a lot of insecurities, and they just want to know like how to be more confident and lift up their confidence levels. I used to have a lot of insecurities, and even though people think like just because I portray my life as everything is always perfect on social media, which is I just kind of show the best version of myself, but there has been so many times in my life where I've gone through a lot of insecurities. I feel like I was constantly feeling like I'm not good enough and that I'm not doing enough, and I just always felt like, wow, I could do so much better with like work and stuff like that. And so I would just constantly put myself down. Something that I've noticed that really helps me, like I think the number one thing with confidence is being in a really healthy mental state and like figure out what is going on with you mentally, because a lot of the times when you are feeling very insecure and down with yourself, you're also not in a really good place mentally. And I found that when I'm in a bad place mentally, my confidence levels are low, and I'm constantly doubting myself, and I'm constantly just not feeling assured of myself as a person, and I just start nitpicking at everything I can possibly find that is wrong with me, and just going down this like horrible negative hole of just like feeling like shit about myself. And what's really important is, first of all, make sure your mental health is in check, and if it's not, figure out what is going on and how you're going to overcome habit, whether it's working out, whether it's going to a therapist, whether it's writing down your goals and writing down how you're going to pursue it, like being more organized with your life, just kind of like making a 360 with your life, you know, because a lot of the times people are kind of like stuck in this negative hole in their life and they can't come out of it. And so like one day you just like really gotta wake up and be like, you know what, I'm done. Like I'm done feeling like this. I want to be feeling the best that I possibly can. I want to be more confident. And so those are just some things I would suggest doing. Working out for me has really helped a lot. I personally just feel better mentally and physically when I work out, and I know that it's hard to motivate yourself to do it sometimes, but once you're in the rhythm of doing it and once you start seeing results, you're really just like, wow, I gotta keep going. I feel like in a much better place mentally. I look better, like my body looks better physically, and it just makes you feel a lot better about yourself. Another thing I would have to say with confidence is to stop comparing yourself to what you see on social media. A lot of it is not real, a lot of it is edited, a lot of it's Facetune. Like people literally just put their best versions of themselves on Instagram, and I'm saying this from experience because I personally do it myself. Like, I only put out there looking my best when my makeup is on fleek, when my hair is on fleek, my outfit's on fleek. Like, I don't look like that every single day. Like, I would say that's like me once a week. So stop comparing yourself to all of these perfect like Instagram girls that you see. Instagram sets really unrealistic expectations of what people should look like, and I don't think you should be comparing yourself to these girls because trust me, they do not look like that every single day. So stop caring about what other people think about you, because I used to have this problem where I would care so much. I'd be like, oh, like this person said this, and I'd like just let it kind of take over like how I feel about myself, which is like, dude, you shouldn't allow that to happen, because the reason people are talking about you, and if they're saying anything about you, they might be jealous, they might just want to feel better about themselves, I don't know, and you shouldn't take it to heart. Because whenever I've noticed in myself, I've like taken a step back and I've noticed that I say something negatively about somebody, that all comes from a place of insecurity. So when people are talking bad about other people, they're insecure themselves, they're trying to put you down. So you shouldn't take that personally. Instead, you should kind of like be like, damn, like I wonder what they're going through that they have to say like these negative things about me, because clearly they're not in a good place. So maybe you should check up on them instead of, you know, taking it out on yourself as if something is wrong with you and it's clearly not. I've like grown so much from this because I used to find myself being so insecure for absolutely no reason. It happens to the best of us. Like we all just love putting ourselves down, and we need to stop. Words of affirmation, like you need to wake up in the morning and be like, you know what, I look fucking beautiful today. I look amazing. My skin is glowing, my hair is glowing, my body is in shape, and I'm happy with the way that I look. And that's what you should say to yourself in the morning, instead of looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I hate my skin, like it looks so bad today, like I look terrible. Don't say those things upon yourself, because also words have power, and it's important to just say words of affirmation to yourself and show that love to yourself. You need to love yourself. Like that is so important. That would be my advice on confidence. Next question I got is best advice to keep the spark alive in couples. So I know that somebody asked me this because I have been in a relationship for a really long time already. I've been in a relationship for 4 years. It's gonna be 5 years in June, which is surreal to me. It's amazing, but of course, like things do happen. When you're with somebody long term, it's important to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, like we need to start, you know, doing more romantic things together, because that's so important. Because when people start dating, initially they're doing everything for the other person, but once you get comfortable, you stop going on those date nights, you stop kind of taking care of yourself, you just stop doing the things that you used to do in the beginning. And I find that those things are really important. Obviously not every day, but at least what me and my partner do is every weekend we have a date night, and it has to be at least once a week. We have a date night where we both dress really nice, like we'll dress up, we will, you know, pick out a nice place to eat and kind of like have dinner, just the two of us, and it's very romantic, and it's a great time to kind of just wind down and just like, you know, be with each other and not have any distractions. Doing those cute things for each other once in a while, like little surprises and stuff like that, is super important. So like for example, my boyfriend really loves golf, and like once in a while I'll surprise him with like something for golf or just something that he needs, and he'll do the same thing to me. Like he'll surprise me with like flowers, or he'll you'll buy me like, I don't know, a teddy bear or like a little card. Cute little things just really help you keep the spark alive. And I also think that once in a while you do need to let your partner know why, like how you're thankful for them and how much you love them, and like kind of like words of affirmation, because sometimes you just forget to say those things because you're like, we're dating for so long, they know I love them. But at the same time, it's like important to express, you know, your love and gratitude to each other for like being there for each other like all this time. Doing like adventures, like maybe once in a while leave town and like go somewhere for the weekend. It doesn't have to be out of state, it could be like 2 hours away from your house, but like you guys are taking that time to get away from the city and like spend time with just each other. And I find that that is super important. And I also think it's important that once in a while to kind of discuss things that are bothering you and something that you find is really important to fix, because a lot of the times people that are in long-term relationships, they don't fix certain things and it just keeps getting worse and worse until like you guys just break up. So it's really important to communicate. And I know it's so cliche to say, oh, like communication's everything, but it really is everything, because at the end of the day, if you're not communicating your feelings and how you feel and you're bottling things up inside, it's gonna just keep getting worse, and then you're gonna end up hating each other, and that's just the worst possible thing. So no matter how scary it is, but if something is really bothering you, you gotta bring it up, you gotta talk it out in a calm, healthy manner, and just kind of, you know, come together and be like, how are we going to fix this type of thing? So I think that's also really important. Next question revolves around periods and like, what are your tips for periods, and like, what do you prefer over pads, tampons, and cups, and why? So when it comes to my period, I always make sure I have a Midol next to me. I get like really bad period cramps. I also have like these heating pads that I put on, because sometimes my cramps are that bad, I'll just literally sit in my bed, put on a heating pad, especially for like the second and third day. That's my worst day. I don't know why, it's always my worst day. It's like the heaviest day. It's horrible. It's important for me to just sit down and kind of put on a heating pad, relax. I also find that not doing too much on your period is good, because you are losing blood, so you could be like a little bit anemic, you could feel like easily dizzy and tired and stuff like that. You're going through a lot with your hormones, like mentally you might be crying and then you might be happy, and then like you're just kind of like all over the place. So for me it's important to kind of like take it slow, especially in like the second, third day. Like I said, take it slow, like maybe not go work out, maybe just like relax and like stay in bed, eat chocolates. I don't know, obviously not every time, but like once in a while it's good to just like kind of like take that time to just to yourself on your period. It does take a toll on my body. For example, like I start feeling very moody, I start getting very tired, I'm cranky, so I just need to like relax and like wind down. I personally use tampons and pads because I have a copper IUD in, which is what I'll talk about in a little bit as to why I have a copper IUD. It causes your period to be a lot heavier than normal, so I have to use a tampon and a pad, just because if I don't, it will leak through everything. I use both, and that's my go-to method. I do want to try like new things like cups, and like there's a lot of new innovative like, products for periods nowadays. There's like even like I think there's like panties for periods, but I kind of want to try and see if it works, because it's pretty insane that like you just put on a pair of underwear and it like absorbs your period blood. I'm a little skeptical on if it actually works. So next question I have is, what advice would you give to people in your early 20s? Something that I wish I would have done like earlier on is to just really not be so hard on myself. Because when I was even younger, and I'm still struggling with this now, but I feel like in my early 20s, I was just always so hard on myself, like trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. It would like overwhelm me. It'd be like all I think about would be like, you know, I would constantly feel like I'm not doing enough with my life, and I would compare myself to like others that are doing super well, and I'd be like, why am I not doing as well as them, for example. Biggest advice would be, do not knock yourself down and stop overthinking things. Go with the flow. Like, you still have so much time to figure out what you're gonna do with your life. Another advice I'd give is to like not care as much as like about what people think, because when I was younger, that was a big thing for me. I would care so much about what other people think about me, and I would overthink situations when I really didn't need to. So I just found myself stressing out a lot over people when I didn't need to be stressing over those kind of things. So I would say, like, stop stressing yourself out. Take it easy. You have all of your 20s to figure out what you're gonna do. It's never too late to start on a new project. You try one thing and it doesn't work out, that's fine. You're in your 20s. 20s is all about trial and error. You're learning. This is like where you're figuring out what you're gonna do with your life, so that by your mid kind of end 20s into your 30s, you're already like, you got that figured out. But like, you literally have like 10 years to figure that out. I'm 24 and I still haven't 100% figured out what I'm doing with my life. Like I said, like, your 20s is all about figuring that kind of stuff out, and I find that I'm so hard on myself sometimes, so try not to be hard on yourself. Like, trust me, we're all going through the same thing. And you know what, that 1% of minority that you see, like people like Kylie Jenner that are freaking billionaires at our age, it's the 1%. And like, at the end of the day, if you know you're putting in your all into whatever it is that you love, or even if you haven't found something that you love yet, you will. Like, you just need to keep going with life, you know, try little things out, see what you love best. As long as you're focused, as long as you're driven, as long as you are, you know, writing down kind of like ideas and stuff that you're interested in, like, you will figure it out. So don't be so hard on yourself. The next question I had is, how do you deal with anxiety and taking care of your mental health? I've always been pretty strong with my mental health, but then when it came along certain things, I've noticed that I would just have like certain things that I would be like, well, like, Joanna, you need to take a step back there and figure out what is going on with you, because A, why are you acting like this, and why are you so insecure? There would be just moments where I'd be like, oh my, like, what is wrong with you? Like, for example, 2020 for me was a rough year. I just was at home all day and like not doing anything, as many of us were, and I would dig myself into a hole. Like, I would just think I'm not good enough. I wasn't confident. Yeah, so I was like dealing with a lot of things, like mentally. Started like, you know, just not feeling like myself, feeling very insecure and all this kind of stuff. And so this year I've kind of been like recovering from that. I find that what really helped me, like I said, is like taking a step back and being like, you need to change. Like, this needs to change. You need to stop with this. Like, I started saying positive affirmations over my life. I started writing down positive affirmations over my life and kind of like manifesting that, and it's really changed my perspective on everything. I've never fallen into depression or anything like that, like, thankfully, but if that is something that you are struggling with, or you know that somebody is struggling with, definitely talk with them or figure out a way to medically help with that, because I think that kind of stuff definitely requires medical attention, and you should go see like a therapist or something like that that can help you go through that. And there's a lot of medications now that help with that, so I feel like that's very, very important, and a lot of people don't like talking about it, but trust me, like, every other person I know is going through something mentally, and so many people are always anxious. I struggle with anxiety daily. It's not because I'm not in a good space mentally, it's because I'm generally a very anxious person, so I generally overthink everything and I always think the worst possible thing. But what I found has really helped me with anxiety in particular is just kind of like brushing things off. Like, the second that I notice I'm overthinking, I'm like, okay, wait, stop. Like, I take a step back and I'm like, stop. It's not that. Like, it's not the worst situation. This is just your mind tricking you, and the mind is the brain is such a strong vessel in our body that it can literally make us think things that are like just not the reality that we're in, and we start creating a false reality of scenarios in our head that aren't true. Like, you'll start like thinking like you're this, that, you're not good enough, all these kind of things, and it's simply not true. It's just simply your brain tricking you into thinking these kind of things. So like, the moment that you see that happening, take a step back and be like, no, this is not going to overtake my body right now. This is not going to overtake my actions. I know what's going on. I'm overthinking. I've kind of like created this like mental exercise to figure that out. So as soon as I'm overthinking, I'm like, okay, no, you're overthinking. That's not the situation. Stop. And it kind of like goes away. If you are dealing with severe anxiety, there's obviously like CBD, and there's like a lot of different things that you can do to kind of calm down. I know meditation helps. Working out for me also really helps. Like, if I'm sitting home all day and not doing anything and I'm feeling like lethargic and not energetic, I find that like working out really helps to like get my anxiety out and just help me like really start my day, especially in the morning. I would highly recommend, if you are a generally anxious person, to incorporate like a healthy lifestyle with like working out in the morning to kind of start your day, so that your mind is at ease and you've like released that tension and all that kind of stuff. The next question is, did you ever struggle with body image or deprive yourself of food? You look amazing and so healthy. Thank you. So, you guys are so sweet, by the way. So I did struggle with body image when I was younger, and it did transition now into when I was older. When I was younger, I actually was signed with a modeling agency when I was like 13, and I remember when I was in this modeling agency, it was actually Ford Models. I'm not scared to say what it was. It was Ford Models in LA, and I got signed and I was super excited, and then I would go to like casting calls and they would tell me that I'm not skinny enough. So I started starving myself when I was like 13, or I would start like overeating and then throwing up. Yeah, I went through that. It was it was like 1 year of my life. It was like 13 to 14, and my mom, she like had to she like just came up to me and had a talk with me. She's like, Joanna, you need to stop. I didn't go see a doctor or anything because it didn't get too bad, but I did lose like 15 pounds. I wouldn't eat anything, and then I would be starving, so I'd eat a lot, and then I would just, you know, go and purge, and like it was just that kind of thing, and I just thought I was fat when I wasn't. And I kind of got over it because I don't know what it was like a mental click. My mom talked and she told me like, Joanna, you're not looking healthy, like you look like you're sick, like you're like a stick. And it's crazy what your mind does to you, because I would look at myself in the mirror and like see a tiny little bump on my stomach, and I'd be like, you're fat, like you need to lose that little bump. And then I would just starve myself the whole day. And so then after that, I've always just had a really fast metabolism, so I've always been very skinny. I've been on the thinner side, and I never really had curves or anything like that. So then now as I've gotten older, my big insecurity was that I had no curves, and so I always thought that I was just kind of flat everywhere. Like my butt wasn't big, and like my boobs used to be obviously flatter until I got my boobs done, and I just always thought I was too skinny, and that's not what is in right now. I would get insecure about that, but then I realized I was like, no, like first of all, being skinny is a freaking blessing, and I should thank God that I have a fast metabolism and I eat whatever I want and not gain weight, because I know so many people that would literally kill to have that, and I'm like, I need to stop like just self-criticizing. I need to be thankful for what I have. If there's something that you don't like in your body, it's so easy to like get up and go to the gym and fix it. Not easy, but it's something that you can change with like a good healthy lifestyle. So what I did was I started going to the gym, and I was like, you know what, I want curves, I'm gonna go work out and I'm gonna start lifting weights. And that's what I did, and my body, I've gained 15 pounds of muscle. I feel so much more confident now with my body because I'm not like too skinny. I have curves, you know, have hips now, and my butt got bigger. So I feel like, you know, a lot more confident with my body now. But before, when I was too skinny, I was insecure about it, and like people would tell me, oh, like you're so skinny, like you're too skinny. And it's just like the worst, honestly. Like whenever people comment on your body, it's the worst feeling. I think it's just like the worst possible thing you could tell somebody. At the end of the day, if there's something you don't like about your body, you know, it can be a fix of like going to the gym. But at the end of the day, I also think that it's not good to set these unrealistic expectations that you see on Instagram with like models that facetune their waist and facetune everything to make themselves look like this like hourglass that's not real. You know, bodies come in all shapes and sizes, and everyone is beautiful in their own way. We should stop just like making one ideal body size and saying this is what everyone should be, because that's just not real, and everyone comes in so many shapes and sizes, and everyone is beautiful and unique in their own way. And I think we should stop comparing ourselves to what we think is the perfect body. And like I said, if you're really just like not happy about something and it really bothers you, you can get a certain diet, whether it's gaining weight or losing weight. You get on a certain diet, you go to the gym, and you set that goal and motivate yourself to get where you want to be. Don't put yourself down. Do not do that. Like write down manifestations. You know what? I am skinny, or you know what? I am gonna get hips. I am gonna get like a little thicker. You know, those are kind of things that you need to like say over yourself to feel better and to kind of feel more motivated. And I feel like that's what really helped me. Okay, how do you stay motivated to work out and be productive? Like I said, with working out, once I started seeing results, I was like just kind of addicted to that result. So I started like seeing, oh my god, like my butt's getting a little bit more round and like lifted from doing squats. And I saw that, and I was like, I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep like getting to where I want to be. Just results to me are really, really addicting. So like once I see results, I'm very, very motivated. But another thing to me is like kind of like setting a schedule, like being like, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at this time and I'm gonna go work out. Because if you don't have a schedule, you don't have anything to look forward to. So once I know like I have it scheduled in, like I'm gonna go tomorrow. A lot of the times there's people also that don't like going to the gym, and they don't like it because they have to force themselves to kind of go, and they don't have a reason to go. So I find that if you're that type of person, maybe think about going to like workout classes, whether it's Pilates, which I've been doing and I love Pilates. I find that for those kind of people, like if you have a set class, it's like you're forced to go to class, and like you have no excuse for not going, because first of all, you're paying, I don't know, usually like $30 a class, which is pretty expensive, and you don't want to lose your money or let it go to waste, so you're gonna go to the class. A lot of the times that's what works for people, and that used to work for me, but then I found that with the classes I wasn't always targeting the places that I really want to focus on, so took it upon myself to start going to the gym. In terms of being productive, I have my days where I don't want to do anything, where I wake up and I'm not feeling it. I just don't feel good and I just don't feel ready to take on my day. And usually when I feel like that, I have to just like go in the shower, wash off, rethink, you know, my day, and I start scheduling out my day. Like writing things down really helps me, but it's totally okay to have an off day. You know, it's totally okay to have a day where you just don't want to do anything. Obviously, like that's not okay every day, but once in a while it's okay to take a day to yourself and not be productive. I hate that there's like this new thing that it's like you have to be productive every single day. Like that's also unhealthy. I think that as human beings we deserve a rest sometimes, and especially if you're able to. Like for example, I work from home, so sometimes if I really have no work and I'm like really feeling drained mentally and physically, I'm like, you know what, today I'm gonna take a relaxing day. I'm gonna go to get my nails done and like do something for myself. Having that kind of balance with work where you're not overworking yourself is really important, but I know a lot of people don't have the privilege of doing that, but if you do, you have to take advantage. Being productive, I noticed that when I'm not productive, I feel like shit. So for me, being productive just makes me feel like a better person. I feel more confident when I'm productive, and I just feel like I'm in a better place when I'm productive. So anytime I'm in that spiral of not being productive, I'm like, all right, Joanna, you need to like get it together. You need to be productive, otherwise you're just gonna go down a hole of like just feeling really shitty this week. I find that like really setting out my schedule, being organized, writing things down of what I'm gonna do for the day is what really helps me to be productive. And I also notice that when I am more productive, I feel like accomplished. Like that feeling of accomplishing something is very addicting to me as well, so that's what really helps me personally. This question is about birth control and if I would recommend it. So I was on birth control for 2 years and I got off of it like a year and a half ago because I found that personally for me it just wasn't working. I would always feel very nauseous. It messed up with my stomach a lot because I already have IBS and I had a bunch of stomach issues, and it basically made my stomach issues a lot worse. And if you are somebody with stomach issues, I do suggest you get off birth control because it's not good for your stomach health whatsoever. So it just wasn't working for me. I would be breaking out, and I never had problems with acne, but I would have very bad like hormonal acne all over my chin and just like this whole jaw area. And I was like, all right, like something's up with like my hormones, like this isn't normal for me. And I changed up my birth control many different times to kind of see like maybe a different one will work for me, but they all kind of gave me the same side effects. I also like mentally was not okay on birth control. I was very emotional and I would have a lot of constant mood swings like every single day. I would find myself crying for no reason, stuff like that. So like that's why they ask you like, oh, like are you prone to depression? If you are, like you shouldn't be on birth control because it can trigger it. Like people get depressed on birth control because it just really like messes with your hormones. So I wouldn't recommend it, and I just don't think that like putting hormones into your body is ever a good thing. And I have a ton of friends that have completely messed up their body because of birth control, because it's just messed up with so many hormonal imbalances and like cortisol levels and all these kind of different things. So I would not recommend it. But like at the same time, if you're doing it for prevention of pregnancy and you don't have anything health-wise, I think there's a lot of other alternatives to prevent getting pregnant than taking a hormone every single day. And that's just my opinion based on experience. I personally have a copper IUD, which I got this year back in February or March. I made that decision because it's non-hormonal, and obviously I'm in a long-term relationship and I'm not trying to get pregnant at the moment or have an accidental pregnancy just because I'm not ready. And what I like about the IUD is that you can take it out anytime, but it can last up to 10 years if you want it to. The insertion process was very painful, but I do find that the benefits outweigh the negatives of the painful insertion. I would say that's the worst part. And the other worst part about it is the heavier periods. So I get like really heavy periods to the point of my pads just don't, like it can go through my pad. For example, I have to wear like a tampon and a heavy flow pad. I would have to change it sometimes like every hour because of how much blood is coming out, but that's what happens with a copper IUD. You bleed a lot more on your period. So I would say it's a big negative, but I don't find that my period is more painful. It's exactly the same. So that's really good. Some people say they like have more painful periods. I personally did not experience that. So my biggest negative with the copper IUD is the heavy period, and the insertion was definitely painful. It's literally, they say it's kind of like having contractions. It's pretty bad. Like I would rate it like 9 out of 10 for pain level, because for me it was horrible. Like it felt horrible. It's not something that you want to experience every day, but you know, if you experience it once every like few years, why not? Especially if it prevents pregnancy and you're not trying to get pregnant. I think it's a great alternative, especially if you don't want hormones. Now I know some people are like allergic to copper or have adverse reactions with copper, so that's another thing to consider, but it's definitely a good option if you're looking to avoid taking hormones. I feel like I'm like taking too long with every question. So this question's about like just like dating, which I feel like I'm the worst person to ask this because I've been in a relationship for almost 5 years, but someone just asked me, like, aside from confidence, what is attractive to you in a man? So I can say this just because I can tell you guys what I personally was am attracted to with my current partner and what kind of like drew me to him. So I find that, first of all, of course, confidence is really, really important, and just like the way that you carry yourself, and being somebody that is very, very easygoing and has a good personality. I used to like date guys that only like kind of cared about what they look like, and they just had nothing to offer personality wise. They were kind of like boring and weren't fun. Like they just weren't like a good time to be with. And with my boyfriend at the moment, it's like even like leading up to 5 years, I am literally excited to see him every single time because he is just so much fun. And I don't know if it's because he's a Sagittarius, but like he's so funny, he's so outgoing, he's so confident. Like sometimes I'm like, he's more confident than me because he just literally, I've never seen him really be like, obviously everyone has their own insecurities and he's had some before, but I've never seen him be like overly insecure. You know, he seems to always be like very secure of himself, and he carries himself just like really, really like well, and he's like super like manly, that I felt like I could be myself around him. I don't like when a guy kind of carries like a really cocky kind of like ego and is like full of themselves. Like to me that is a big turn off. It's not attractive when a guy is full of himself. I just don't. My partner is just so down to earth. He's really funny, has a great personality, and I literally feel like I can do anything around him. Like he's my best friend. And I think that's what like really just keeps us together, because at the end of the day, he's actually my best friend. I can be my unapologetic self. Like he's seen every version of me possible. He's seen me at my best and in my absolute freaking worst. He's never been somebody to kind of like make me feel like I can't be myself around him. Like he's just like was always just so open and like down to earth, and I feel like especially in the beginning, like I always just like wanted somebody that I could be comfortable around, someone like open and non-judgmental. Yeah, like big turn off for guy. Do not be full of yourself. Be more like confident and funny and down to earth. Girls love that. Girls love a funny guy. Like if you're funny and you have a good personality, you can get it. The best for last, which is the topic of sex. So I got a few questions about, you know, when is it the right time to have sex with a guy? How soon is too soon? Like what would you recommend? Like is it okay to like have sex after a first date? So honestly, I personally just never think there is a right time. I think that it kind of depends, first of all, on the person that you're talking to and how things are going. Because if somebody wants a long-term relationship and that's what they're looking for, even if you guys have sex too fast, they might even like you more after having sex with you. So I don't think that having sex justifies whether or not you're gonna like get wifed up after, or whether or not like he's gonna take you seriously after. I will say though that it is better to obviously not sleep with somebody like on a first date, just because it kind of shows that you respect yourself and that you're not easy, this, that, and I do think that's important, especially if you're dealing with a guy that, you know, you aren't really quite sure of his intentions, but you really, really, really like him. I would say that if you do want him to really pursue you and take you seriously, that it is probably better to not like sleep with him right away. But I also do know a lot of people that have slept with their significant other like after a first or second date and they ended up being fine and ended up dating and together for a long time. But there's also people that kind of like were like did sleep with someone too soon and then like the other person like kind of like ghosted them. So it can really go vice versa. But if you do want to be safe, I definitely suggest like waiting after a few dates, especially if you do really like somebody. So I do think that if you really like somebody and you see that you want to pursue a relationship with them, I would say kind of like wait off on sleeping with them. I don't think there's ever a right time, but once you feel like it is the right time, you guys are both gonna be more comfortable with each other, and like when that moment comes, you will know it's the right time to do it. When it comes to sparking up sex for long-term couples, this is difficult because it kind of all depends on the person and your significant other. Some people like to spice things up with like trying new things in the bedroom, whether it's, you know, like toys or like different positions or like, you know, dress up and like foreplay and all that kind of different stuff. But I will have to say that if you do want to spice things up, definitely take a weekend getaway. Have that getaway to yourself and like really take care of yourself, put on some lingerie, and it really will help to spice things up, because I feel like especially when you're in a relationship long term, you're not putting on lingerie like every time you're having sex with your partner. I find that if you do want to spark things up and just like, I would definitely say like go, you know, shave your legs, do your hair, like look really nice, put on some perfume, put on some lingerie, and kind of like surprise your partner. I also think obviously like going away and like maybe like going to a nice hotel would be even nicer. Make things just more romantic and fiery. You know, I would also suggest like trying new things. You know, I think that sex is all about exploring what works for both of you, and everybody has different things that feels good for them. And so I think it's really important that once you are comfortable with your partner to really like discuss these things, because a lot of the times you're maybe shy to be like, oh, you know, I don't really like that position, or I can't really get off on that position. There's so many things that need to be discussed with your partner about sex, and like, that's something that needs to be more open, because a lot of time people are like scared to bring things up about sex because they don't want for their partner to think that they're bad in bed or something like that. But I think, you know, everyone, like I said, is so different and likes different things in the bedroom, and different things will work for them. So it's really all about trying new things. And I think that especially when you are in a relationship, that sex should only keep getting better, because you're only getting more comfortable and more open to like exploring and trying new things. Because especially when you first start dating, you may not be having the best sex of your life just because you guys just started dating and you're probably only doing like missionary. But I'm like just saying. So like I feel like once you start getting comfortable with your partner and really discussing these things and really being open about it, you can start, you know, trying new things. And so yeah, you can really start to try new things and your sex will only get better. And yeah, I mean, once in a while we do fall off the bandwagon and like, you know, you get too comfortable and sometimes you just forget to like express those needs that you needed to express with your partner. Also, sex is all about communication. So that's what I have to say about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this little girl talk. I know that I never really do these types of videos, and if you did like this discussion and conversation today, make sure to comment down below and let me know, like, you know, what your favorite part was and what you really resonated with. Make sure you guys also check out OSUGA, you guys. This Moonlight toy is so freaking cool, and like I said, sexual health is so important. So if you are looking for a new toy that has really cool, innovative, sleek, and discreet packaging and just is like very, very cool in general. Like, look at this. This doesn't even look like a toy. Like, it just looks like a face. It could be like it looks like a face, like one of those facial tools, you know? So discreet, and wireless charging. So like I said, very innovative. Make sure you guys go check out OSUGA in the link down below. Here's my discount code. Once again, you guys can apply it at checkout. This would be also a great, honestly, like Christmas present for like your significant other, or like for people in relationships, or even a Christmas present to yourself. I personally had so much fun just sitting down and chatting with you guys. And so I will see you guys in my next video. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, comment down below. I love you guys so, so much. I really do hope that my tips and advice on everything really does help you guys, and I just really hope that all of you guys are going to be feeling confident and mentally well and just be the best version of yourselves. So I love you guys all so, so much, and I will see you in my next video.